Welcome to the preview of the Imola Grand Prix Round 7, and we've got lots to talk about ahead of this race weekend. Could this be the last Imola Grand Prix ever? We've got upgrades galore at the top teams, we've got team personnel changes and not just at Alpine. We'll talk about the circuit and my predictions. Let's get to it. So let's pick up where I started. Could this be the last Imola Grand Prix ever? The contract for the circuit ends at the end of this season. F1 are saying we can't really see there being two Grand Prix in one country going forward. There's a lot of people interested. Yet they go to the USA 3 times in 3 different cities. So make your mind up, F1. Is it just that the Imola circuit is a bit old and raggedy and a bit tight and narrow, and you don't get the overtaking and the excitement that we see at probably other races? Quite possibly, but we can say that about Miami. That wasn't an overtake fest, was it? Yet we did have some fantastic racing there this season, but we don't normally traditionally get that. Interesting to see what happens with that. The Imola government are really interested in keeping the circuit. They've said, look, we've got massive crowds, we've bigger capacity this year than last year, we've got more infrastructure, more trains, and watch how successful this season will be and make a decision from there. But as it stands, there are talks ongoing, but at the moment it doesn't look like they'll get a renewal yet, which will be sad to see. But a lot of people sort of saying, well, Imola, it's a bit old, we don't really get the overtaking and the excitement that we see at other Grand Prix, yet the drivers absolutely love it. A bit like Suzuka, isn't it? The drivers love it there, but the fans, we were a bit shortchanged, weren't we? We didn't really get the overtaking and the exciting races that we now get to see at many other venues. But let's watch this space. Now, Imola, it's the first of a triple header before we go to Monaco and then Spain. The European leg starts, but for the Canada one, that just jumps in the middle of it. And that means upgrade season, and we'll start with Ferrari. It's their home race. A lot of pressure on the Tifosi outfit this season, and especially now because we've had a decent start with that China win. Who can forget that, of Lewis Hamilton's first sprint win? And you thought, oh, Ferrari, they've finally shown their true colours, and it's just gone massively downhill from there. The infighting that we've seen potentially with the team, the drivers sort of keeping each other, tapping each other on the back, saying, yeah, we'll get on top of this, but really big upgrades needed. Will we see them here at Imola? Well, Fred Vasseur, the team principal there, was kind of just tempered down on the expectations there. We've been talking about big upgrades at Imola for a few weeks now, and that was initially the rumours, but plans are that they're delaying that process, and we'll only see small upgrades in Imola, and the focus really is that we've got this directive that's coming out for Spain, where we'll see the reduction of the flexi front wings. They're sort of grading their upgrades, bringing them in slowly over the next 3 Grand Prix, in a hope that actually by Spain we might see the front guys slow down a bit and the teams come back to them. But interesting that Ferrari have taken that approach. I thought they might have gone, all in, and they've got a couple of races to dial them in and see where they stand. Let's watch the space on that. Red Bull also have upgrades. Helmut Marko saying that, well, we've got some upgrades, some new parts, in the hope that they can close to the McLarens. Again, though, that a lot riding on these for Red Bull, because they've sort of said, well, we're not going to have loads of upgrades, and much like many of the teams, they really are focusing on 26. Williams, another one that probably not bringing many upgrades. Will they do a Haas this season and just sort of say no upgrades? We're looking at 26, all in our eggs in one basket. Red Bull not really playing that game yet, but the new parts are really, a lot of hope riding on that they just hope that they work and they just bring them closer to the McLarens, and they can just ride these upgrades and just fine-tune over the rest of the season and just stay close to McLaren and hopefully fight for this year's championship while focusing really on 26 upgrades. Mercedes upgrades for them, but they look like they're spreading them over 3 races, but they've said that there'll be some more noticeable on the outside and the rest sort of more decent upgrades on the inside, but they look optimistic and very excited internally about these upgrades that they're bringing to the car. So watch out for the Mercedes, and they've been tipped as a dark horse to bring this battle to the McLaren for the title so far. I mean, George Russell, the big dark horse at the moment, isn't he? Just lurking in the wins, picking up podium results with the car not quite there, but as we see last time out, they're picking up on that raw pace, aren't they? Kimi Antonelli with that sprint pole position, which was brilliant in Miami. They're hoping that these upgrades really do kick on from here. Let's get to the team personnel changes. Flavio Briatore will be back in the Alpine as team principal this weekend, and we've got Franco Colapinto returns as well. Will they magically return things to winning ways? I highly doubt it. Again, no upgrades really pinned here at the Alpine outfit yet. They could do with them absolutely massively, but I think they're so down on the power side of things that they kind of really should be focusing on 26, although the power unit is becoming from Mercedes, who are tipped to be the top team there. They just need to get the aero right. There's also rumours of Christian Horner being sacked at this Grand Prix this weekend. Big rumours going around, and it spread a little bit like wildfire. Rumours are that, looking at Franz Tost to potentially take his place, or Ollie Oakes, who's just been sacked or moved on from the Alpine outfit. Although it's his 400th race for the team, so some celebrations expected for him there this weekend. So I think that's very doubtful in my view. I just don't see that they're just going to throw that and rain on his parade on his 400th Grand Prix start. So interesting, and watch the space on that one. Let's get to the circuit. 63 lap race, this one 4.9 kilometers, just the one DRS zone down into turn 2. We do get some overtaking there though, thankfully. It's a high downforce circuit, tight and twisty, but qualifying will be the big one on Saturday, and let's see how that one plays out. Weather conditions expected to be dry. The tyres, we've got some new tyres. The first time we're going to see the C6 compound, new for this year, introduced at this weekend. We'll also see it later in the season at Canada as well. So far, evaluation really going on to see how this tyre will perform, and then how many races we might see it introduced towards the end of the season also. So it's the absolute softest in the range, the C6 for the soft, the C5 for the medium, and the C4 for the hard. One step softer than last year. Will we see a change in strategy? Let's take a quick look at the strategy. Last year we just got a one-stop strategy last year. Again, with the stops and being Imola especially, it's one of the longer pit stop windows here, given where the pits is situated. I think they go slightly slower down the pit stop than they pit lane than they do in other races. I think it's about 5 or 10 kilometers slower, so heavily penalized pitting here, so they'll tend to focus on the one stop, especially the front runners definitely, and just try and ride and manage this time out. The big difference here though, I expect to see, a bit like Miami, we got the softer tyre compound there, but everyone kind of still went for the one stop, but we did see a bigger difference in the undercut. So guys running on older tyres, if you come in for new tyres, you've got a big chance of undercutting. We've seen that last year in Imola as well, and we can also see it again this year, so it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out in terms of strategy. I just expect there to be a bigger undercut performance difference than actually people moving to two stops, but watch the space on that one. The predictions for this weekend, I'm going for Lando Norris to bounce back this weekend and take pole position. He was the man on a charge, wasn't he, last time out, charging down Max Verstappen, and he likes it around here. So I'm just going to bring a bit of more performance out of Norris. I think that's what I'm expecting for this weekend. Oscar Piastri to come home in second, and I've got Kimi Antonelli in his home race, also the Italian kid, to come home in third place for the race. I like expecting Lando Norris to take the win, Piastri to be second again, but I'm thinking Max Verstappen will come home in third place, ever the man that's just the underdog. Could be completely wrong, because we could just see another masterclass of a lap from Max Verstappen. He has that in his bank, doesn't he? And he's got upgrades this weekend. Will they work for him? And could he nick pole position? And if he takes that, who'd bet against him for the race win from there, considering how hard it is to overtake. But for my predictions, easy really. I'm going with McLaren. You can't say anything. I just can't see past them at the moment, and I'm predicting another 1-2 for them. I think it'll be a bad weekend for Alpine despite the change in personnel. I think it'll be a struggle for Colapinto. It's a new car. Anybody that's got into a new team so far this season has really struggled. Took him a few races to get to grips with it, but he's only got 5 races, so let's see how he gets on. Let's take a quick look at the championship. The drivers, Oscar Piastri leads the way, 131 points, 16 points ahead of his teammate Lando Norris on 115, who again in turn is 16 points ahead of Max Verstappen, who's on 99 points. Fourth place man George Russell on 93 points, just 6 behind Max Verstappen, and in 5th place Charles Leclerc on 53 points. For the teams, McLaren lead the way handsomely with a 105-point lead on 246 points. Mercedes back on 141 in second. Red Bull on 105 points. Ferrari 94 points, just 11 behind Red Bull. So that's looking close there. We could see Red Bull drop to 4th. I think this potentially where this rumour of Horner getting the sack comes in. Williams doing really well this season in 5th place on 37 points, but 57 behind the top 4, the Ferraris. But their aim really is to look behind and just keep them back, and if they can take and clinch 5th place in the championships this season, they'll be absolutely overjoyed. But there's a massively long way to go, 18 races in fact. Will we see the upgrades introduce a new challenger arise and battle for the McLarens up at the front? Pressure on Ferrari, can they overturn their fortunes? Will the upgrades work for them? They really need to. And Mercedes, could they be the surprise package and take pole position? They've shown that they can do that in Miami. Who's to bet them against them in Imola and the cooler weather conditions as well? Even though it is dry, there's some rain on potentially on the Friday. Drier and cooler conditions than we saw last year, and we know that's where the Mercedes really does perform. So could we see them bounce back and rise and battle for the lead and the front and the pole positions and the wins at Imola? It's exciting. I can't wait for the action to get going. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, see you on the next one. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Imola going? Would you be sad to see it go? Would you be happy to see the back of it and, just dance, and hopefully we get Singapore back or Sepang back in Malaysia, which was an absolutely fantastic race. Let me know where you'd rather see instead. Or would you sad to see it go, and you do like these sort of classic circuits that we've, just come to know and love in Formula 1 as well? Let me have your opinion in the comments. Who are your predictions? Love to hear from you. See you in the next one.